Sound check. Second attempt. Sound check. Second attempt. Sound check. Welcome to Can Angels Fly, Tarot and More. My name is Nancy, and today I'm here to perform another Aquarius Rant. Please like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe. As you may be able to see with the thumbnail, this Aquarius Rant is focuses around a new world order, and I contend that the new world order is not a conspiracy. It is your upcoming reality. If you're ever interested in ordering your own personal tarot reading, you can do so by contacting me by email. My email is canangelsfly1@gmail.com. All the details that you need to order your own personal tarot reading is below this live stream. As mentioned, this is an Aquarius rant. But before I begin complaining and ranting, I first like to apologize for the camera being so up close. All of my technology seems to just shift at its own wheel. And so I can't even get it to go back much further than this. One more step back, but I think this one looks better. So I just left it like this, close-up portrait. New World Order. Let's see. Before I go into a full, complete rant or meltdown, I'd like to cover some of the information I said that I would cover and I've been looking at over the last couple of weeks. And one thing that has been highly intriguing to me is the astrological alignment for December 30th. I can't, explain why the astrological alignment that will exist on December 30th is so intriguing to me. I would have to show you. But due to all the restrictions, I want to thank you for your loyalty. I really appreciate you. And I hope your evening is going well. I will have to show it to you, ladies and gentlemen. But everything, just when I say everything, I'm talking about, offering visuals. It's always some type of license attached to a visual or to a site, and I'm not quite sure about it. Sometimes I do it and sometimes I don't. Today I don't feel like doing it because I don't want to worry about if I'm breaking some rule or law. It seems to me that new rules are being established, which makes sense to me as my different interpretations of the stars has continued to bring up the fact that new rules, regulations, and policies are being put in place, and they seem very suppressive to the people. Anywho, that alignment, December 30th, which is so intriguing to me. I want to go over it. The astrological alignment for December 30th is about our spiritual self, our spiritual essence. I try to explain the spiritual essence is that entity or that force that dwells within a living human body while you're alive. It allows you to think, to talk, to blink, to act, to, do whatever you're capable of doing. And once that entity or that force or that spark leaves the physical body, the clay vessel drop and hit the ground, spirit move on. So I'm talking about that particular entity or spirit that dwells within that animates us. Here's the little bit of information I have about the astrological alignment. And so I'm going to read. I guess I can say this. What's quite intriguing to me about the astrological alignment of December 30th is that all of the planets and signs are closely, they're very compact, and they dwell within a particular corner of the astrological wheel, and it ranges between, I think, the 12th house, don't quote me, but it ranges between like the 12th house and the 3rd house. And so we're talking about with all of the planets being within a 90-degree range from one another. All 12 zodiac signs, all 12 astrological signs, all 12 planetary bodies, excuse me, are in within a 90-degree range of each other. And so it's all compressed and compact into this area of the astrological chart, which suggests something is unseen. And it is activated. It is it's revving, like revving. Am I saying that right? Rearing up an engine is rearing up, but as of that date, it is hidden. And so I'm going to give you my interpretation. Oh Lord, I didn't close my notebook. It says, from the quantum void. The quantum void is God, or absolute, or all consciousness, the absolute consciousness. However you like to label the supreme God, or that thing that we don't know, we can't touch. Remember, this is an Aquarius rant. I can talk about anything. I don't have to be professional. I can cuss, I can fuss, I can cry, I can do whatever. So just ride the wave with me, of course, if you will. Anyway, I'm talking about from the quantum void. That is consciousness from which all possibilities emerge out of. The consciousness of the spirit, the soul, creates the contents and perimeters of that which will manifest into reality. Yes, you know me. I'm going to make that make sense. Those are just my brief notes to trigger me to remember what I interpreted or I was looking at means. Okay, I need to just calm down because I don't want to rush. I just want to talk, catch up, share, and of course rant. So here's another more, I think, concise interpretation of what I just read. It says the vault of the absolute consciousness, which is God, is wide open. It's wide open. But only that which resonates with the collective subconscious or the collective soul can be extracted. What does that mean? It's saying, hey, to all of the beings that create humanity at this time, the consciousness, the awareness, that which can build your intellect, your ability to understand, to perceive, to comprehend, and different things like that are open. That the whole vault of God is open. And so we all are not our physical bodies, but our soul bodies or our spirit bodies or our light bodies are walking into this vault of God's. And remember, this vault contains every every possibility, the consciousness to create any possibility. As a human being, I'm sure we can't even fathom what these possibilities are. Uh, anyway, the vault is open, and we who the collective subconscious, the collective soul of humanity, is in this vault. We're invited to go into this vault, and there's only one stipulation. The only thing that can leave out of the vault with us is that in which we resonate with. That's the catch. That's the catch. Let me stop. Another thing about this astrological alignment that is what on December 30th that's so unique and intriguing to me is that I had to do some real deep research to comprehend what I was seeing. But what I end up seeing is that because everything, all the bodies were compressed into a particular sector in the wheel, it showed that it's a witching hour. And I thought that was so intriguing. At this time, I don't have Wikipedia opened up or anything like that to give you a definition or a full description of what a witching hour is. But a witching hour, is the best I can recall, is a period of heightened like spiritual activity. And so what am I saying? I'm saying, hey, on December 30th, there is a portal that is open. And that portal, the way I can describe it, is like the vault of God. And humanity, whether we know it or not, is in it. The issue is we can only bring out that which we resonate with. And this witching hour, I want to talk a little bit more about this witching hour. Because this witching hour, we're highly susceptible. And I think that we're highly susceptible because we just don't have access to the vault of God. We have, or we are also accessible by other entities. Some entities are unseen, and others, I think, dwell in this world in physical bodies like ourselves, but they understand spirituality. That's to say that they know how to move in the spirit. Like most of us don't know how to move in the spirit. Even myself, I'm not like a master at moving in the spirit. I'm more like I think his name was Esau in the Bible, where something has to come invite me to walk with it, and then I'm able to walk with it. Very rarely over the course of my life have I just taken that spiritual stroll on my own. There's always been something there to invite me or usher me in. Anywho, what am I saying? I'm saying there's people in this world that do know how to uh, um, navigate the spiritual realm, even though they occupy a physical body. So while we're wide open, when we're wide open during this period, yes, we can tap into the vault of God, but we also have the ability to tap into other or be tapped into by other entities that may want to invest something into us. Anyway, I just kind of want to read the astrological alignments. And it says here in my interpretation, it says any physical body that are animated by a soul and spirit during this time period are being re-educated and healed. Healed has become a term in the last few days to me that is questionable. As when I hear the term healed, I think I think positively of the word. Um, how can I say? The term healed, I guess, it is not a bad term nor a good term. It just is what it is. It's like, what are you being healed of? I guess is the question. If a person is physically sick in a body, you can be healed of a sickness. But in the spirit, what if you are plagued with this looming I don't know. I don't know the word. Thank goodness it's an Aquarius rant. But it's like this looming uh, uh, call to be righteous. And really your entity that doesn't want to be righteous. You know, and so to be freed or liberated from that call to be righteous is healing for somebody that is demonic. Now, the truth of the matter is I'm trying so hard to veer away from spiritual terminology. Really, I mean, religious terminology. I really want to get away from religious terminology, and I'm finding it increasingly more difficult to do that, especially with the things that I've been seeing in the stars. It seems very it is spiritual, but religious terminology is used to express that which is going on in the spirit. And that's one of the reasons I'm having this Aquarius rant, because I'm literally sick and tired, actually, of this whole thing. So I'm gonna start reading the stars and start my rant. I am sick and tired of the whole thing. Of what? Of that there are is these complications, these complexities that's really getting on my nerves. Like trying to explain what religion is versus spirituality, and trying to, uh, you know, separate components that go together, but they don't look like it. Like the bureaucracy of our world and the religion goes together, as well as spirituality. We have, I think, been programmed or cultivated to think these are all separate entities or experiences, and they're not. They're practically one in the same. And another example is just to exist in this physical realm is one of those complications, because existing in this physical realm is also bureaucracy. It's all political. And it's getting on my nerves that these beings, whoever they may be, this higher intelligence, were able to bamboozle humanity for all this time. And then the time period comes, such as now, that the general populace has enough intellect to be able to start decoding what has been hidden right up under our noses the whole time. But it's very, very difficult to do so. And another thing I'm sick and tired of, I see you talking one, too. I'm putting my glasses on in a minute. Another thing I'm sick and tired of, I'm literally sick and tired of myself. Because in a way, I don't want to, and I've said this before, I don't want to focus on what I focus on. It's something about me, and to be perfectly honest and truthful, I don't know what it is about me that I can't help myself. It's like I'm compelled is the right word, even impelled, to need to look. And when I'm not looking, then something pops up in my face to provoke me to look. And the truth is, I don't want to do so. Oh my goodness. Thank goodness. Once again, this is an Aquarius rant, because I'm definitely going to be all over the place doing this live. Religion and spirituality can go together. They can coexist. And the reality is, it's not that they can. The thing is that is that they do. They do. Our existence and the bureaucracy coexist. It coexists. It's not that they can. It's that they do. It's like it's not a choice or option to truly separate them. They're all interlocked and interlinked and interdependent upon the other. But again, we have been programmed or trained to think they're separate. You know, even when in the church, they didn't deal with spirituality. When people started moving over to spirituality, the church was saying, hey, is something wrong with it? Is something demonic? Da, 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 da. But the truth of the matter is that religion was truly, it built up I've often talked about how every um, academic field has its own unique vocabulary and terminology and different things like that and formulas. Well, religion deals with spirituality. It deals with our existence. It deals with like the bureaucracy in this physical realm, and all of that is hard to explain. Um, explain. Another reason I'm sick and tired of all of this is because if it was meant for me to do what I do, why am I suffering so many complications? You know, I suffer the complications in trying to communicate, to articulate concepts, all those kind of things. And I know it's probably um, a attack or a tool of the enemy to discourage me, but I think that I should have a little more, be a little more successful in what I'm doing. And so I started on that part of my rant, and because dealing with this astrological alignment that is so intriguing to me, that is to say December 30th astrological alignment, um, it's complicated to talk about this vault of God being open and the human collective conscious having access to what's in it. That means we can go in there, uh, we will be in there, and we'll be looking around. It's like being in uh, I can see a shop, a china shop, all this fine china, and you see it all, but you minimize yourself from touching, you know, the merchandise too much because it's so fragile, you know, and so you will only touch what you're really, really interested in, and that's how it seems to me that will be experiencing this. But you got to remember, I'm talking about something that it can't be seen. It's not seen. This period again, I just need to read the notes because it got really good. It got real deep. It got real intense. Um, so the last thing I was reading about was I was starting to fuss about the word healed. That's what took me off on that tangent. So I'm gonna start from the very beginning. Well, number one, the vault of the absolute consciousness is wide open, but only that which resonates with the collective subconscious and soul can be extracted from the vault. Then I was reading saying any physical vessel or body that are animated by a soul and spirit during this time period are being re-educated and healed for the purpose of coming to understand about their true state, the true state of their soul. That is to say, righteousness or unrighteousness. I always end up returning back to the spiritual text. I can't help it. So what am I saying in that last little paragraph? I'm saying if you are alive, literally alive, not deceased, not yet to be born, but if you are alive during this period, uh, then you are being re-educated. You are being healed of that which uh, leads you to have what is it called? Um, what is it? Not cognitive dissonance. Is that right? Cognitive dissonance, meaning you, like in the physical world, you live in one way, but on the soul level, you the total opposite. You know, so you're being healed of that, of being forced to be something you really are not from a soul level. I want to change the word healed to being reintegrated. You're being reintegrated into whom you really are, or you're being converted into whom you really are. So let me try to clarify what I'm saying. I'm saying astrological energies suggest that on December 30th, humanity, the people that are alive, living, will have this period between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. That's the witching hour. In that time period, we will receive our most intense re-education. And that re-education is also a healing process. It will allow each of us to convert or be reintegrated into the true essence that we are. Basically, if you're righteous, you'll be righteous. That's what you'll tap into. If you are unrighteous, like, you'll be unrighteous. Going on, reading more of the astrological interpretation. It says, life as the educator. One's physical reality is a testament to one's soul essence, and it works. I've been talking about this statement for a while, and so I'll try to clarify what I'm saying. It's saying, whomever you are and your true soul essence manifest in the physical to create your reality. And it shows in the works that you do and the beliefs that you have and you uphold and different things like that. And so, and how did you get to this point? Well, each of us was allowed to live our own life from our own perspective and help to cultivate who we are, even on the soul level. That's something I talk about quite often. And the thing of it is about the things that I've shared here on my channel, I'm not sharing from my perspective. I'm sharing from that which I have learned, information I've gathered over the course of reading the stars and doing tarot readings and things like that. That is what has guided my or created the curriculum for me. Because to be truthfully, I've learned so much over the last 5 or 6 years since I've really dove into the stars like never before and have this more intimate relationship with, the stars and the energies that govern this realm. So I've been learning whole time, learning and sharing. And so I forgot what I was gonna say. So all of these concepts that I share, again, I didn't come up with. They're not from, per se, my brain, my thoughts, and my views. I didn't build them. I literally interpret them and put them into words, terms, quotes, analogies, whatever I could to convey the various concepts that I learned, or the subject matters that were covered, or the topics, etc. Oh, it's time for work. Seatbelts, hugs, kisses, no drugs, no drinking, cruising, all that. Close your bedroom door. Okay. Well, after I interpret the stars, that particular sector of stars, cluster of stars, it led me to the Bible again, y'all. I don't know what's going on. I have an idea about what's going on. I just don't know how to articulate it. But it led me back to the Bible. So I'm going to read the scripture that I end up connecting this astrological alignment to. And one of the scriptures is Matthew's, and this is King James Version. The New King James Version is Matthew's chapter 13, verse 25. And this is what it reads. It says, but while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. The second chapter is also in Matthew's. It is Matthew's 13, verse 30. It says, let both grow together unto the harvest. And at the end of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, first gather together the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, then gather the wheat into the barn. Let me see if I can make this make sense. What am I saying? I'm saying on this particular date, December 30th, that I've been talking about, between the time period of 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. is the witching hour. Anybody that is alive will be impacted by this witching hour period. The stars are saying, hey, God's vault is open to y'all. Or the vault of the absolute consciousness is open to y'all. Y'all can go in and take out anything that truly resonates with your collective subconscious. Take it out. Free. But during this same witching hour period, now I'm referring to the scriptures I just read, it said that while men slept, because the witching hour is a period of sleep. We're talking about between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. while men slept. His enemy came and sowed tares among the wheats, meaning that unforeseen enemy of man and of you and I, of humanity, is aware of this witching period and is going to take advantage of that period to implant the tares. Now, tares are something that causes damage, division, and/or separation. I can use as an example of a tare, what was it? It's called those foxtails that came up in my garden I tried to plant this summer. Let me stop. I gotta go here. This is an Aquarius Rant. If you follow me, you may have heard me say that, hey, I'm out here, I'm going to try to do a garden this year. And I tried. I went out there, I tilled the land, planted the seeds, watered it, did everything. And as soon as the garden started coming up, I was like, oh man, I'm doing it. And then the next thing I know, this plant from nowhere I never saw, and I had to research it, look it up, came up. And it strangled the life out of the garden I had planted. When I researched what this plant was that I never saw before, it was called a foxtail. And that's what what it does. Is when it is introduced to a field, I'll say, it strangles out the they call it native vegetation or plant life. It kills it. And so this scripture is saying that that time period that we are going to go through on December 30th, it gets deeper, y'all. It was so interesting. I didn't know that I was going to find these things out. I never know what I'm going to find out. Anywho, it's an enemy, whether seen or unseen. I'm saying that it could be a ethereal entity, malevolent entity. But then there's also people here that occupy physical flesh bodies that know how to walk in the spirit and deal in the spirit. They're going to be busy at that period because they know that we wide open. And then they're going to go in and they're going to plant them tares that strangle out the vegetation or the fruits or the abundance, the potential that this period is offering us. Okay. And the second scripture talked about how, hey, it's a period in which, like, we won't even be aware that the tares have been planted or seeded in the same garden as the wheat. And if the scripture said, hey, don't bother it. Let both of them grow up together. Let the wheats and tares grow up together. It's going to be a period of harvest. And when the harvest comes, we're going to pull up the tares. We're going to bind them together, throw them in the fire. And the wheat, we're going to pluck it up and store it in the barn. So that tells of a period of maybe like salvation, but I'll come back to that later because I want to go into deeper. I want to go finish this up if I can. Oh man, I'm gonna just read the notes that I have because I have multiple notes here on the exact same thing, and it's because, like I tell y'all, when after I interpret the stars, I go back again and again, and I change the wording. I do everything I can, and I'm doing it because it keeps leading me back to these religious terms and religious texts, and I don't want to go there. I left the church close to 15, 20 years ago. I had no intentions of going back. I had no intentions of ever opening the Bible again, but it keeps taking me back there. And so I comply and I go back. I'm obedient. I go back. And so I try every time I'm interpreting the stars and I get these kind of religious messages, I keep trying to do anything I can in order not to, again, interpret them that way. I don't want it, but it keeps coming. So right now, I'm about to continue to read my notes. However, again, I've gone over this same alignment over and over again. I think I told y'all about this alignment some 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I done went back over and over again. Now, what I end up doing when I kept going back, I pulled up the most similar notes, and I was like, okay, I got to go with it. What it's saying. Anywho, because there's only a few houses again that occupies these planets, and it says I have 12th house Pisces, spirit, soul, manifested to reality, creating the scenes, props, scenarios relative to the state of the soul and spirit. I just talked about that earlier. And then it's Jupiter conjunct Saturn. It's the extent and the details of the contents and perimeters associated with the present state of consciousness and awareness and the trajectory of that intelligence. Now, I actually talked about that particular alignment on Christmas Day, as far as talking about the Christmas star, when I was talking about how the conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter is pointing to our collective literally consciousness, what we're aware of, our level of intelligence, that those ideologies and beliefs that we embrace and therefore act out in the world. So that's all that is saying. And based on whatever our intellect is, whatever our true state of consciousness and awareness is, sets the trajectory of our lives and where we will go. Okay, what is here? A lot of glitches. Hope I'm still alive. I can't even tell the way I got the board today. Let's see. The Neptune energy represents the depth of the void or the absolute. It is all possibilities. And it says all quantum possibilities associated with humanity, including but not limited to the number of people, social diversity, dynamics, the racial righteous to the unrighteous, established social constructs. Are they for the people or just in favor of the 1 or 2 percenters, etc.? I know that probably didn't make much sense. Again, these are just my scribbled notes that I'm reading. I'm trying to find where the information began to shift, or how my research branched off. This is where it branched off. I didn't write these notes cleaner. Okay. The routine, the purpose. Should I read this? Assertion of energy through. I kind of went there. Okay. Ooh, maybe I should have rewrote these too. Okay. What I end up finding out after I interpret the astrological alignment for December 30th is that there's a peak period. We're going to label it the witching hour. Throughout history, a period such as this has been labeled the witching hour. And our witching hour is between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. is a period that we will be um, um, activated. And it's a part of our physical bodies. That's what I'm trying to get to, that is going to be activated. And it's that infamous pineal gland. It's the pineal gland, y'all. It says that between 3 a.m. is a peak in the amount of melatonin in the body. I went to Wikipedia for this. I'm just kind of all over the place, y'all. I'm trying to read. And investing is the last hour. You can cry. Oh, and we might notice on this date, based on my research, is that children and babies and infants may cry an extended amount of time, and you won't even know why. And the truth of the matter is that our pineal glands are activated. It says a hormone is released, and that hormone is melatonin, and is primarily by the pineal gland. So my notes all over the place, y'all. But the pineal gland is going to be the primary physical body part or tool that is going to be secreting this melatonin at this time. And what is it saying? And it's so what I'm bringing that up for. I got a lot of notes. No. I found the meaning of this astrological alignment extraordinary. And the reason why I found it extraordinary is, number one, I didn't know I was going to find it. The only thing that caught my attention is how it was the planets and everything are positioned in the astrological wheel. But it also was very, very intriguing to me because I've heard these different tales and people talking about or discussions about the pineal gland. And I've never been a person that jumped on those waves. Didn't know what a pineal gland fit in. How can I say this? I'm going to stop before going into the pineal gland and the melatonin. Is that another thing that's been highly frustrating for me is that I'm in, as you are, in a period of an avalanche of information. It's information coming from everywhere. Everywhere. And it is just bombarding, I know, me. And it's the period, it's the age that we live in where you can't help it. Right? Because it's in the entertainment, it's in the music, it's here on these various social media platforms, it's in the news, it's everywhere. And then it was a period when I didn't even watch TV, the news, I wasn't on here, and people will still come, and the discussions that they had kept me up to par about what was going on. Like the time change, what do they call it, the time change in the fall and then in the summer. Somebody will always come tell me when that was. Anything that, any kind of significant world event happened, somebody somewhere was going to come tell me within moments of it happening. And so I was still always abreast on everything. I think it's a word. And now that I'm on this, this online, it's information coming from everywhere. Yesterday, I had to sit with myself, and I was like, okay, Nancy, I'm funny. I'm a real funny style person. I want to know for myself. Again, I feel like I'm always compelled to search, to seek, even if I don't want to. And so I really don't many times have an interest in other people's information. But nowadays, I'm still exposed to it. I tell y'all, whenever I make a video and upload it here on YouTube, by the time it's published and released by YouTube, and they done okayed it, it start suggesting other videos just like that. So I end up watching these videos, and I be like, well, I'm not the only one getting this message. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, whatever is informing me and others, what do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? I'm getting the message. Somebody else already got it and delivered it, or something saying me, what do you want us to do? That's the part I want to know. This is what's frustrating me. I want to know what you want me to do. The best thing I can see that it wants us to do, well, it ain't like it really wants us to do nothing. It's like be yourself and reap your reward, your fruits for being yourself, basically. But I guess it wants us to just inform people. Maybe it's people like myself that are over making sure that the people are informed. So we all making an informed decision about what? Be yourself and reap your reward. You know, that's about the gist of what I can see any person can do. You know, I really don't know, and that's kind of frustrating me too, because if I'm to this point in my private time telling whatever be talking to me, whatever be compelling me, leave me the F alone, because obviously I have nothing else to offer. You know, is what I'm talking about is not new. It Nothing new under the old quote is nothing's new under the sun. This is not new. People been talking about this stuff for centuries. Everything, every religion, everything, everybody's been talking about it. Every culture, every religion. Like I say, every time I make a video and upload it, then YouTube suggesting videos on the topics that I be covering. We already know. We might tell it a slightly different, you know, or present it slightly different, but we already know. So what else do you want me to do? Why is my life, you know, bombarded by this responsibility? It can't, you know, I don't get it. And so that's highly frustrating to me. And I went off on that particular rant, that part, is because I've been hearing about the pineal gland. Many times I've heard people talking about the pineal gland. I really don't know what the details were surrounding their discussions about the pineal gland. I think I remember the pineal gland being closely linked to melanated people, or black people, or people of color, and them having access to God and or the ethereal realm, just being able to tap in psychically or intuitively to the creator or the absolute. And many times I was like, well, that's pretty weird, because it always seems kind of racist to me. When I say racist, it's like they were always, these people that talked about the pineal gland in this context, always kind of dismissed or limited other cultures in this way I was perceiving it, especially white people. I'm like, that seems kind of racist, but I don't know nothing about the pineal gland. So, okay, I done heard that. All right, I get it. Then I started hearing all about this melanin. I had never heard about melanin, and I'm a black person. Well, I can't say I ain't never heard about it, because I might have missed something in school, or might have been asleep. I don't know. But I just don't recall any information about melanin, you know, when I was coming up, going through college or anything. But all of a sudden, it was this sweep of information that came through about melanin and then melatonin. And again, it was always connected to some type of racial divide. You know, it was somewhat racist. Some racist connotations was associated with it. Like black people or people of color got all this melanin and they can go through the Van Halen belt or something like this and that. And I even heard, I ain't gonna say the person's name, but when I heard her spoke, all she talking about is melanin. Go have kids. You talking about the Kardashians having K.I. West or these other black athletes and very rich people to have biracial children with to be able to survive the heat change here on the planet. So I'm like, I've heard all of these things in this avalanche of information. Oh, come on now. What is y'all doing? Is it okay? In this avalanche of information, but it just didn't sit well with me. But nonetheless, I heard it. I heard it, and I heard about how this melanin supposed to help keep you young. I heard about the melatonin something, or being a protective seal against the sun rays, and that part I heard that our darker complexion is somewhat of a natural sunscreen from the radiation. I did hear that coming up. Okay, so my whole point in bringing it up is like, okay, I done heard about, again, the pineal gland and the melatonin. I done heard about the pineal gland in relationship to the king cobra, in advanced entities or something like that. And then here I go, a couple of years later, for the first time on my own, I've come across the path of the pineal gland and melatonin. First time ever. And what is associated with is this witching hour. Our pineal glands, I went on that whole rant about how our pineal glands are going to be activated between that period of 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. Wide open. And when our pineal gland is wide open or activated, it's spewing out this melatonin. So in a way, those things that I heard seemed like they were correct. Again, it was how they were delivered. The message was delivered or presented to the viewer. In my case, it was me, the viewer. It did make sense based on what I'm seeing here in the stars. Now it makes sense. And so, and it's no racial divide to it. It didn't say black and white. No, it said tares and wheats. That's righteous and unrighteous religiously. But it says tares and wheats. That's it. Anyway, all humans. It talked about how it's if you are alive. It didn't say if you was black and white, Chinese, whatever, robotic, whatever. It says if you are alive and you are animated by a spirit and soul at this particular time on December 30th between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. your pineal, which is the witching hour, your pineal glands will be activated and it's going to be pulsating melatonin. And that's what's going to usher us in or escort us into this ethereal realm in which we can access the vault of the absolute consciousness and go in there and take out whatever we need. So we had a choice, and I think we rejected it. It's like rejecting Christ. Okay, I gotta use the religious terms because that's what the stars have been talking about. I mean, that's the that's the type of dialogue or dialect the stars have had. And so it's saying, okay, people, if you using religious dialect terms, if you're righteous, then when you go in this absolute vault, you're going to go in there and you're going to accumulate. It's 7.8 plus billion people, light bodies. Going in God's vault, everybody cleaning out the vault about love and prosperity and blessings and abundance and unity and getting all the consciousness to build, to use in science, engineering, and technology to make it easy on this planet for those that live now and that come in the future. That's what y'all be up in that vault. Take it because it's no bars hold. Take what you want long as it resonates with who you really are on a soul level. But based on like the other reading I did just yesterday, the other live I did, where I went in and began my predictions for 2021, it doesn't show that we have accepted Christ. We haven't accepted the righteousness. So we can't go in that vault and access those treasures. We can't. And let me try to clarify what I mean. I'm saying, hey, if you look back at the live I did yesterday, which is my part 1 of my 2021 predictions, it said that humanity is on its way in the year 2021 and transitioning from, or is it transferring from basically righteous to unrighteous, to the point that we're going to be psychologically, intellectually locked down from being aware of what righteousness is, love is, commitment, compassion, those kind of Christ-like things. So that suggests, when compared to religion, that we become one. Many of us become one with the Antichrist. So that means right here, right now, when we going into this vault on December 30th, we going in there to access all the consciousness that has to do with unrighteousness, evil, our the darkness, destruction. And this is the whole thing. At this time, this witching hour, that our pineal glands are activating, it's giving off this melatonin and stuff, or whatever it says it's going to do. It's an enemy, whether seen or unseen, and know how to walk in the spirit, that's there to plant the tares within us. Meaning, when we walk in the vault, it's like demons walking with us, a demon seed or implant walking with us as we go in here, and it's improperly influencing us. Like, no, why touch that when you can touch this? This is the same concept as of when Adam and Eve are in the garden. I'm digressing. This ain't what the stars talk about, but I'm trying to use it as an example to make what I'm saying make sense. When Adam and Eve are in the garden, the Bible said they could eat from any fruit or any tree in the garden. But Eve went on over to this tree that they were told not to eat from. By no means, don't eat it, don't touch it, because in the day that you do, you will surely die. And while she over there, you know, the snake talked her into eating that one fruit, from that one tree, when she had all them other trees. And so it's like that on December 30th in the spiritual realm for us. We there in this vault, and we can have anything we want. But it's a serpent seed there. And it is informing us and persuading us, alluring us to partake in that vault that is detrimental to our existence here in this physical realm. Oh, I don't know if I made that make sense, but when I was studying that, it just blew me away. Last comment I think I want to make relative to the pineal gland and the melatonin secretion that's going to be going off on December 30th between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. is I went to Wikipedia, because I got to go to Wikipedia because I got to understand what I think I'm understanding. And so I followed this particular line, which was interesting, this particular line of thought. I went to Wikipedia and I put in melatonin, because I don't know about melatonin except for what I heard here and there. I put in melatonin, I read a little bit, read about melatonin, and then what I see, a word relative to melatonin is, and you can follow this line of thought, is immune deficiency, #acquired. I was like, wow, melatonin, line of thought followed to immune deficiency, #acquired. Why did that, out of all the text on that page on Wikipedia, catch my attention? Because number one, back to all of this flood of information everywhere that's going on now that we're in this age of Aquarius, I was like, people have compared the vid to HIV. And HIV is acquired by the AIDS, the autoimmunity deficiency. So when I seen that terminology and I done heard this, and all the information, I'm like, wait a minute, let me click on that. When I clicked on that, it goes to human genetic enhancement. Line of thought. Why was this category of human genetic enhancement interesting to me? It is because and all that flood of information that I've been receiving over the last few years through all the social media and just everybody know everything and sharing every aspect of what they think they know, including myself. One of the things that also came up over the last few years, uh, relative to people moving up to 5D, taking on their crystalline body, um, the event, it's been so many things, is that there's supposed to be a genetic modification that takes place. That's deep. And so it says, following that line of thought from melatonin takes us to the human genetic enhancement. What am I saying? What am I contending? Back. Let me summarize. On December 30th of this year, between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m., human beings, anybody that's alive, that has a soul and a spirit, there's going to be it's a witching hour. That witching hour period is our pineal glands will be activated, and it's going to spark the stuff called melatonin, and that melatonin is going to allow us to maybe transcend. What's the word I'm looking for? Transcend from into the spirit. While we still occupy the physical, this is again back to what Esau was talking about, being in the body, but being able to move in the spirit. See, a lot of us move. A lot of people talk about how when they dream realm is them moving in the spirit. Well, on this day, this is really what they're talking about. I'm not talking about no dream. It might be a collective dream. Who am I? I don't know. But what I know, again, I'm all over the place. Aquarius Rant, ride the wave with me, if you will. The times that I have had taken spiritual journeys, or what do they call it? What's the term they use? Astral project. It's astral projecting, is what they say. I'm just using the terms that people use. At the times that I have left my body in order to go on spiritual journeys, I was invited. I was like Enoch, Esau, whoever his name was, I was invited. So this here, we're all invited. We're all invited. So that means that I think we have this escort. You know, could you imagine the consciousness of 7.8 plus billion people, or however many people exist in this world at this time, being able to be escorted to the spiritual realm that can't be seen? And once we there, we get to go shopping. Okay. But my point is that period in which the pineal gland is activated and the melatonin is, secreting, I'm sure profusely, there is a transformation that's taking place in our DNA. I think I made it make sense. That's what people have been talking about, or change to our DNA. This is a change that has taken place to our DNA. But that's not the only change that has taken place in our DNA. Whatever we go into that vault and retrieve collectively is also a contributory factor to the change that's taking place in our DNA. Ain't that something? And here's a term that can catch you slipping or throw you off, is the term enhancement. Whenever we hear the term enhancement, we think, ooh, so positive. Like I was talking about the term healing. Every time I heard healing in the church or any other time, I think so positive. It is objective, objective. I just get them confused. I think it's objective. It depends on who the healing is for. I'm biased. As a righteous person, if an evil person is healed, I'm upset. You do, what I'm saying? So, and if, how do I say? Let me try to say that a different way, because that ain't coming out right. This is an Aquarius Rant. You know I do what I do. I'm about to partake in my vices, because that's what I do. I'm not trying to persuade anybody or mislead nobody. Cigarettes are deadly. And when you got to wear a mask. Ugh. Anywho, the human genetic enhancement. So people, word of mouth, all the propaganda that's been out here, people talking about this DNA upgrade. That's what they've been saying, DNA upgrade. It is a DNA upgrade. Wow, I'm just getting to this, and it leads me to what was these people on? What have they been studying? You know, I'm just getting here. I'm just seeing it for myself. The other day, what was it about? It's like I just seen it for myself. I follow the lines of thoughts, not following any particular thought. I'm just following and interpreting the stars, and now I'm finding these places as well. So this back to the human genetic enhancement. We're talking about, let's say, hypothetically, case scenario, we all go to this store, this God mall, and we extract all the goods that resonate with us. And them goods is what are like the codes to change our genetic DNA. Or our genetic, what do you go? Human genetic code. What we go in there and get is hate. Because that's what it seems like it's going to be. Hate, a short-tempered, angerness, all the evil stuff. That coding is going to be added to us. It is an enhancement. It's an enhancement. But it's because it's making us better. It's making us more pure. It's making us be more in line with whom we really are. It is placing us in a state of integrity. Even if we are, quote unquote, become evil or whatever the case is. That is the genetic enhancement. But we can also walk into that store if we truly are righteous. And we can get all the righteousness stuff like love, care, compassion, unity, da 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 da. And that is the information that is encoded into us to the genetic enhancement to make us be love, to create love, to spread love, to care, to nurture, to make sure all of our advances, help and heal everybody and make it easy for them in their life. That's going to be the genetic enhancement, the ability to do so, to love to that level, to care to that level, to be able to not be greedy. That is the genetic enhancement is talking about. One or the other will take place. Again, based on my research, it seems like, oh, goddamn, I'm cussing and fussing. Aquarius Rant. Noise, more noise. Okay, let's just put my past. So that was something that I was really interested in talking about. How long have I been on here? I've been trying really hard to stay at an hour. I'm sure I'm at an hour. Yes, Lord. What did I say? Yeah, hour and 12 minutes. Okay. I can't keep going in and out. Making all these short videos. But again, it irritates me because I should be able to articulate it. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is I want to go back and, what do you call it? Review or reflect upon something that I've already covered. And it was about Bill Gates and how Bill Gates single-handedly funded. Am I working? Single-handedly funded the development of a nuclear reactor. The nuclear reactor is called the traveling wave reactor. And so he hired the scientists and Terra something, Terra, Terra Fields. What is it called? Terra. Do I have them written here? Because I didn't want to. Terra Power. Anywho. I want to talk about that reactor a little bit, this nuclear reactor, and why is it's significant. Is number one that the nuclear reactors that are predominant now, they have to be refueled. And it seems to me, based on my research, that the refueling process is time-consuming, complex, and, they have to shut down. They got to let it cool down. So this new reactor, a nuclear reactor that Bill Gates has invested his money in, it says, using Wikipedia, that the TRW, or the traveling wave nuclear reactor, Theoretically, because this is obviously outdated, because I've already shared with you the information that has already been created, and is being funded by the federal government, and the time for the performance or the show and tell is on the roster. Anywho, it says theoretically could run self-sustained for decades without refueling and removing spent fuel. You know, so they don't have to break. They already have a process that's going on within a reactor that is performed by robotics, and it's they turn the rods inside, I guess, in order to stir up you know, the cooling fluids, as well as the neutrons within it. And so basically the way I'm seeing it, you know, and from an amateur's perspective, is that basically is eating up every bit of fuel in there. I mean, it's milking, the system is able to milk itself for all the energy that it can ever muster up. So it's very rare that they would have to open this reactor up and deal with it. Now, what I was looking for was different ways that this reactor could be used. There are several ways that I have seen in times past, and one was to simply provide power, you know, to the world, to the infrastructure, and the other was to I forgot what the other one was, and that's what I was looking for, trying to find out the other one and any other uses for this nuclear reactor. Anyway, when I was looking at this new Bill Gates nuclear reactor today, looking for those additional details, what I also found, which was interesting, is that Bill Gates and TerraPower work jointly with China National Nuclear Corporation. And when this article was written in Wikipedia, it said that it was that, number one, that the nuclear reactor was theoretical. The functioning of the nuclear reactor was theoretical. I know that again, the article is outdated because the nuclear reactor is up, running, get federal government. Huh? Yes. Oh, I need some ice here. Can you bring my pecans up here too? They on the table. I'm messing with the pecans again, y'all. They had me running to the hospital. Anywho, when I was reading the article, it talked about how Donald Trump administration stopped that whole project. They stopped the whole project. And so I'm bringing it up for a reason. And I'll come back to that in a minute. I want to go somewhere else and share some more information, or revisit some information I've shared in past live streams. And so this is insane. So many choose the spiritual and not religious, and it can what is going on here? Okay. Let's just say somebody said the CPU issue is I got too many. I might have quite a few systems operating now. Good. From my perspective, it keeps spooling and glitching and blacking out, and I don't know. Wow. I can't tell if anybody's in here or not. It's saying I don't have any viewers, and I've been on here about what, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Interesting. Okay. What I want to revisit now is when I talked about making America great again. And when I realized that Donald Trump wasn't the first, oh, you hear thank you one two. If it wasn't for you, what would I do? I never could get to 3 or 4. Thank you. I sound like Cat in the Hat. Donald Trump wasn't the first person that had that slogan. You know, let's make America great again, or the MAGA, whatever it's called. I ended up finding out in previous research. It was the time period in which I found about Bill Gates. And I remember I found out of Bill Gates because of the ending of affirmative action in Idaho. That's what led me to Bill Gates and all this terror power and this nuclear reactor. And now his involvement with China National Nuclear Corporation. Oh, yeah, I got to read that. I can't go nowhere without reading that about China nuclear. I got to read that because it was interesting to me. Another thing getting on my nerves. Where was it at? What did I do with it? Oh, man. I might have had the site open. No, I wrote that down. Oh, man. Okay. Before I go on talking about Donald Trump and Make America Great Again, the MAGA, I want to stop and go back and finish talking about Bill Gates basically working jointly with China National Nuclear Corporation. Of course, I visited Wikipedia to find out about the China National Nuclear Corporation. And what I read was, and I found out through reading, is the China National Nuclear Corporation is a state-owned entity founded in 1955 Beijing. What's interesting to me is, see, this is complicated. This was gets on my nerves. Is that this nuclear corporation is owned by a state entity. But yesterday I was like, Nancy, you really don't know much about politics. You got to get a little more information on politics. I get so confused when people talk about communism and liberalism and capitalism and, you know, all of them isms and stuff. I get so confused. I'm like, who's what? What is the United States? The United States, as they say, has a mixed economic platform of capitalism and socialism. Like, what is all of that? When people are in their field of expertise, they can talk and they can flow. So a lot of things go over our head. So I'm trying to learn what all this means, so when I hear people talking, I can grasp what they're saying. And so that's what I was doing yesterday. And so I was like, okay, my question to Google was, what is America's economic platform, or whatever was the terminology I used to ask the question. And it came back with what I said. Capitalism/socialism. So I asked the same thing about China. And so it told me what China's was. And whatever it said about China's go closely with what they say is the owner of this nuclear corporation. Example. Because I ain't sure, I can't recall, and I don't have all the notes. But if China is, you know, the economic, political economy, or whatever it's called, is socialist communism, was it socialist communism? The state owned everything. Whatever it was, the state owned everything. So it says here, the China National Nuclear Corporation is a state-owned entity. That's what it say. But then in the next sentence, it say the CNNC, which is the China National Nuclear Corporation, president and vice president are appointed. They are appointed by the premier of the People's Republic of China. If I'm not mistaken, China is the People's Republican of China. And so an aspect of them appointed the president and vice president over this China Nuclear Corporation. The China Nuclear Corporation is owned by a state entity. which is the same as China has a communist, social, political, economic platform or whatever. Anyway, everything owned by the state, saying the same thing. But the next sentence say, which ends up contradicting itself to me, but not the crispiest cookie in a jar, y'all. It says, however, the CNNC is a state-owned corporation, not a government administrative body. I'm not the crispiest cookie in the jar. And it goes on to say that the CNNC, you know, that China National Nuclear Corporation that I'm talking about, that Bill Gates working jointly with, is a nationwide industrial conglomerate integrating science, technology, industry, and international trade. I do like this when I say international trade, because I got to go back. I say, hey, y'all, this thing about Africa just keep coming up. The first time the clue came up about Africa is when I was back to Donald Trump not being the first person to say, let's make America great again. The MAGA logo, it was Ronald Reagan. When I followed the line of Ronald Reagan being the first one to truly say, let's make America great again, it took me to this speech that was given in 1985 in Africa, or something about the Portugal. He was in Portugal about Africa. I listened to the speech. I read the speech. It get on my nerves. It's too much. It's too much. Who are we? Who am I? I am an Aquarius. I'm one of many. One of many of the people that create. What happened to my pecans? I forgot. Creates humanity at any given time. This is too much. This is, for as I'm concerned, it's too much for the common Jane or Joe to absorb. But what I'm also picking up, it is each of our responsibility to have much greater than where I am level of intellect and comprehension in order not to be taken advantage of by the powers that be. I don't know how to say it. So, now back to Donald Trump, Reagan. Let's make America great again. It takes us over to Africa and the Cape of Great Hope. Thank you. Get out, Coco. Take Coco with you. And that's not the first time the Cape of Great Hope came up. It was something else. And then most recently is when I covered the conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter. Once again, Africa and the Cape of Great Hope came up. And I think I figured it out. I'm not quite sure. What did I say? The reason why this Cape, there's a couple of reasons why this Cape of Good Hope relative to Africa keeps coming up. A couple. First one I recognized was the trade, international trade. That Cape of Great Hope, if I'm not mistaken, connects India, the trade route from India to Africa or something like that. Anyway, it has to do with trade of natural resources. We all know that the continent of Africa is rich with natural resources. In that speech that was given in 1985 to Reagan, when Reagan was president, it also talked about the Portugal people and how the Portugal people had grown and proven that they could have a successful democracy. Too much. I'm trying to give you some of the information that I've accumulated because I want to give you what I think I'm seeing happening, truly happening over our heads. You know, it's happening under our nose and above our heads. It's just like over our heads. Cause why we don't? This is deep. It deep. It's too much. Um, you know, United States, if I'm not mistaken, it's supposed to be a democracy. You know, some people argue that it's not a democracy, that it's a um, capitalistic corporation or whatever they be talking about. Is just too much. Anyway, to try to sum it up, oh, I was talking about, okay, Portugal being a democracy. What I think is going on, again, this is the age of Aquarius, avalanche of information. Everybody knows a little of something. Everybody's throwing it out here. We're being buried under this avalanche of information to the point we are confused or overwhelmed. Are we in any better shape than if we were truly asleep or still sheeple? I don't know. What I think is going on is I'll explain it as two separate events. This is the same way it's been presented to us, the people of the world, at any given time. It's two separate events or entities or happenings. One is religion, another is politics. But I really believe that they are one and the same. But I'll explain. On one hand, religiously, using religious texts, humanity is being tried. We're being judged. We try and judge ourselves. In short, using some religious terms, either we're going to have hell here on this earth or we're going to have heaven. Again, humanity judges itself. It's whatever we truly are is going to manifest on this earth. What often gets us is that everything moves so slowly that we can't see. Another thing that I know is getting us is that throughout my lifetime, it seems to me that people have been led to believe that these like prophecies, the various prophecies that I've heard, and I think people have been exposed to or heard over the course of their life, we thought it was going to be so magical or mystical, and it's not. It's not magical or mystical. We're too far advanced for it to look like magic or mysticism to us. It's more grounded. It's more practical. It is more physical. So when I talk about this spiritual transformation humans are going through, actually our souls are going through, now that sounds pretty mystical, you know. We can't even phantom that. We can't see it. We can't see our pineal gland being activated and secreting melatonin in the witching hours of December 30th. We can't see that. And we can't see how our souls are going to be changed. We cannot see how we are going to create hell or heaven here on this planet. We can't see it. So yeah, that's kind of mystical. In the church, that's what they teach us. They have taught many of us. But yet, if you talk to a person that still attends a religious institution, many people that still participate in a religious institution like Christianity, if I say any of this stuff to them, I'm sacrilegious because it's not mystical enough for them. That whole thing, because they can't see spirits walking literally with a physical eye, or they can't see sparks flying with a physical eye. Or they don't see a devil with horns running down the street with a pitchfork trying to stab them up. It's not real. It's not happening. As I said the other day, it's sacrilegious. You know, it's a person messing around with that divination or the occult. But this is what's really happening. You know. And then on the other hand, when we start talking about the more political aspect of our experience, we can't see how it is playing into those religious stories. You know, the religious people can't see that either. That is playing into those religious stories. It's just everyday people. It's Donald Trump. It's Bill Gates. It's whomever. You know, it's just them. They're just men. There's no mysticness to it. There's no sparkles. It's no mysticism. It's just them people. It's just this world. It's just this bureaucracy. You know? And my whole point is people can't see that it all goes together. And it's not this big mystical, imaginary Disney type experience that we're going to have with this transition, or the experiences that we have. It's even hard to articulate. Why? Because over the history of humanity, there has really been, other than religion, has been no dialogue built to describe what's taking place in this physical world. And right now, we're going through some truly spiritually critical times. We're really going through some spiritually critical times. And a part of the spiritual experience we are having is taking place in the physical. Even the stars have continued to say, hey, your physical experience is having an impact upon your soul. It's to say it over and over and over again. And again, even for me, it was hard to comprehend what I was saying. Saying, hey, if you're starving, it's having an impact upon your soul. You know, if you're afraid and it's a lot of fear, then it's having an impact upon your soul. Let me stop. Because fear has been another emotion that has been trending. It's been popular. A lot of propaganda has been around it. And when I was interpreting the stars, I didn't read every single note I wrote. It could be summed up in fear. A matter of fact, the site that I used, the one that I've used live, is called Planet Watcher. And I noticed at the top of their chart, it has like a title or something. And it talks about something about fear. I was like, yeah, it's fear. It's all fear. And my point of saying that is that 2020 provoked fear in a large portion of the world's population. Fear. That fear is still lingering. And it made us susceptible. It's had an impact upon the state of our souls through our physical experience. That's hard to fathom. That's what I'm talking about. It's hard to fathom. Now, mind you, there are souls and flesh bodies that know how to move in the spirit. And they're moving and they are creating nuclear reactors, vaxes, and different things like that. All to prepare for, to bring in this N.W.O, or this New World Order. The New World Order has also been a theme or subject matter that has been trending. A lot of propaganda around it. Even, you know, some years ago, they had a lot of movies. These people already knew what's going to occur. And so let me try to clarify. Let me see, because I'm lost myself. I talked about China. Well, okay. I'll put that in there a little bit. Okay. Okay. What's going on? A new world order is being established. Now, let me add this disclaimer. I'm not 100% sure that I put the pieces of this puzzle together absolutely correct. So here I am just adding more snow to the avalanche of information. But what it seems like is occurring in the physical world, a new world order is being established, a one world order, where it's like what's it called, a totalitarian rule, one ruler. And I do believe that's God manifest here on earth based on everything that I've been studying and learning over again, the last 5 or 6 years, since it's gotten real intense since I've been here on YouTube. Anywho, there are certain people that have been standing in the way, certain nations that have been standing in the way of this one world order. And if I'm getting it right, I think Donald Trump is one of those people that don't want to unify globally. I really think that he doesn't want to unify globally. That's the part I'm not quite sure of. Now, our current, what do they call it, president-to-be, I can't think what it's called, Biden and Kamala Harris, remember I did a video on them, and I shared in that video that all I could find out about them is that they were really after restricting the people, the populace that they would be governed over, which is the United States citizens. And so that, what do you call it, iron fist that, President-elect Biden and his support Vice President Kamala Harris, that iron fist that they would drop down on the population is to control the people. Let's see. I say this. The goal is for a totalitarian rulership, one world order, complete and total globalization, or had a whole globe colonized under one rule. Again, there are certain people that don't agree, and there are certain people that do seem to agree. And President-elect and Vice President-elect are those that seem like they agree. You know, the United States, we are self-centered, egotistical, narcissistic. It's our way or the highway, and we out of control. We'll go out in the streets and turn up. And it's been, pending. It's been pending. And so, remember, this is a global project. And so, the people at the head of this global project of a totalitarian rule is saying, hey, leader of the United States, get your people under control. Get your people under control. So who has been elected has been elected. Again, the president-elect, Biden, and Vice President Harris. They have come onto the platform in order to control the people or the populace. Biden has said, you're not going to talk about the law enforcement authority. That's out. They have talked about how they are going to be incarcerating people. You out. They have set people up to be incarcerated. You out. Because the goal is to control the people. Because we too wild. Americans are too wild. We own too much thunder. We got access to too much thunder out here, and we can clap back. So the whole point is to put us into a submissive posture, so so that we can become part of that one world order. But right now, we too wild. We off the chain. We unpredictable. And we got that thunder to clap. So that's what they're trying to get under control. Another area that has been under colonization for this one world order is Africa. And China has its claws in Africa. And Britain is quite a few, I guess, countries that have their claws in Africa. The reason why I think, number one, they got their claws in Africa because Africa got a lot of resources, quality resources. That's one, and that's one I talked about. And two, Africa is made up of 54 individual countries. So, what was it that I was reading that talked about? It was the speech. Was that the speech in 1961? No, yeah. I listened to about 3 different speeches, so can't remember. But I listened. I think it was. I'm not sure if that same speech that Ronald Reagan was at. I guess that. Anyway, another speech. A person talked about. I want to say it was that one. This is a person that represented Great Britain, and they were talking about Africa. Oh, and it was because it was talking about the speech. In the speech, they were talking about how Africa and Great Britain had been doing business together, international trade, and y'all done YouTube. I can't. Y'all gonna do what you're gonna do because y'all wanna do it. We almost there too, where they about to black us out, meaning we ain't gonna be able to communicate. Unfortunate, because we ain't got near a bit closer within the close proximity to ourselves, as suggested by the stars during a particular time period. So, anyway, in one of those speeches, it was talking about how this other country was doing business with Africa, and they basically had Africa like under their arm. In the speech, I felt like it was a kind of threatening speech. They had them in a headlock. It's like, shoot, we come over here, Africa, and we get your natural resources and food and stuff like that. And what we do is we give you some consumer stuff, probably apparel and different things like that. We give you consumer stuff, and we also give you, what was it called? Like expenditure. It's not expenditure. Oh, what's it called? Like expenditures to buildings and different things like that. An example, because I can't think of what it's called. We give you central air for a building. That's what we give you. We give you consumer goods and like attachments, like one example, to add on to buildings like central air. And as a direct exchange, equal exchange, which is not, you give us your natural resources of food and other natural resources, precious minerals. And the whole thing was crazy when I was researching that which that country gave to Africa were things that depreciated in value. That was such an insult. They depreciated in value. An example, back to what I shared, like a central air unit for a building. Well, that central air unit depreciates with value over time. It's not going to function the same. It's not going to carry the same value. Technology going to change. But yet, you got my fish, and you got my gold, and you got my ore, and you got my oysters that do not depreciate in value over time. Certain things are just real fine and get finer with time. And so it's, uneven exchange. Anywho, so they were saying, we happy to, be doing successful business with you, Africa. Got them under the headlock. And, we need you to, we got you in a place where, we can bring technology over here, set it up, and then spray it out into those other territories. Because remember, it's 54 countries within Africa. We spread out to those more rural areas. You know what I'm saying? And so it's all a plot and a plan. And so what am I saying? One world order. Africa got 50 countries. They have to get all 54 countries on board or colonized to this one world order. Where here in the United States, it's the United States. Yeah, we have 50 states, but we like one unit. Africa is not one unit. I don't know how many, 54 individual units, all on one continent. You know what I'm saying? So Africa is an example of having to get a lot of different small little sectors that create one continent together to become a part of this new world order, or this reign under the God manifest on earth, which is AI, artificial technology, quantum computing, and all of that. So, what was it about Russia? I can't remember. What was it about Russia? So, what am I saying? I'm saying everything that's taking place seems to be about, it's a battle going on. It's people trying to stop this one world order. They don't want to be unified like that. And there's others that want to unify, like Bill Gates. And so, example, what I think, again, I'm just adding to the avalanche of information that's overwhelming us. It's like Bill Gates' traveling wave reactor. It is compact. So once the powers that be are able to like colonize the smaller, more rural areas of Africa, as an example, they can set up these small, portable, traveling wave reactors in these countries, because they have to set up technology in order to link them in to the grid of 5G, as an example. 5G, God manifest on earth, ruling the whole earth under one regime. Now, I'm going to end with this last little subject matter, which is that N.W.O, the One World Order. The One World Order is sustained by what? AI, artificial intelligence, technology, etc., etc. It's all, you're all under this grid, and all susceptible to the powers, the totalitarian powers rule. Whatever they say go, worldwide, global. If you follow me, you might remember me saying it don't make any sense that somebody want to rule the world. Why would you want to rule the world or have it all up under one thumb? Wow. You know how selfish or greedy you gotta be? I said it right there. When I get to that point, it's like something that's off-world. Off-world. What is that off-world thing? What is it? Well, that's right there where I do believe spirituality comes in at. I mean, spirituality is all a part of this. I just don't know how to articulate it all together. But this is where it hits this pinnacle at. Once the world is all on board or unified. It's like now I've heard this too. This is another trend that has been popular, and I've heard an avalanche of information. I personally haven't seen any supporting information that I can go to and like recite sites that I visited or articles that I've read. Can't do it. However, over the course of my research over the last few years, it has implied it. And whenever I get to this point where it suggested, I tell you, I drop the mic, I drop the pen, I walk away. It's starting to go off world. It's starting not to be physical, more spiritual. This the side over here where you see the earth and the grid around it. The earth itself, of course, represents the physical planet that we're on, that we named Earth. And around it, you can see this blue grid. And the grid represents the 5G and how it has it is control or cage this RAM in. I don't know if you can tell it or not, but I got these little blue, little pulsating dots that represent spiritual energy. And it seems to me, I don't know, this is just me kind of reaching, is that once this colonization of the planet Earth and all its inhabitants takes place, that a lot of souls won't be able to lead this realm. And I've heard something like that. You know, again, trending topics I hear. Again, I personally have not received any information or came across any scientific articles or journals that say, hey, that's that. I haven't done that. But that's what it seems like. Only thing that makes sense relative to creating a one world order, a total totalitarian regime ruling the whole planet, is to lock in, you've probably heard of this, Earth is a prison planet, to lock in your soul, not your physical body, your soul within this realm so it can't leave. And then that, you know, just continuing to presume where this could go based on everything that I know. Well, the stars just said December 30th, you know, no, in the year of 2021, there's going to be a difference in people, in their soul. And what was that I did? Astrological interpretation last month or early, either it was earlier this month, about this month, or last month. Anywho, it said that you people in this world, at this point in time in the history of humanity, some of y'all going here, this way, and some of y'all going that way. That's what the stars said. So if that be the case, it suggests that there is a group of beings that, or souls that are present in our realm that won't be able to leave. But there are other souls that won't be able to be held or imprisoned in this realm. Now again, I've heard these kind of stories. I don't know where they come from. Again, I personally have not gotten an article, a true physical, worldly, scientific article, professional article, or anything on this part of what I'm talking about. Everything else, yeah, I done read all articles and stuff. But it does seem like that. And I was in a church a long time, and it talked about heaven and hell, and you know, and I like a lot of these concepts I've talked about. It's hard to comprehend. But I couldn't comprehend the life of me of heaven and hell. I couldn't. But again, it seems like, you know, using religious terminology, that this earth, we're going to make a hell out of it. And those that transform into these lower vibrational entities over this next year will be caught here. And then those that do not like religious terminology take the mark of the beast. You know, they don't resonate with unrighteousness. Using religious terminology once again, because that's all I got to use. It's somewhere else that we go. The question is, where do we go? I have not seen any suggestions about where, quote unquote, a righteous soul may go. I haven't seen it yet. But I have seen several times it says, you righteous are going here. Or, what was the term? Or this type of consciousness. It wasn't righteous, but this type of consciousness, you are going here. And this other type of consciousness, that's that's educated in this type of consciousness, you're going here. And you don't even know you're going here. That's what it said. You know, okay. Well, I guess YouTube is tired of my stanky butt. So I'm going to get on off here. But thank you for coming here to Angels Fly Tarot more. And allowing me to talk about the New World Order. And how it is not a conspiracy theory. But it is your upcoming reality. You have the right to be who you are. And know this. That who you are is about to be etched in stone for eternity. Just like that Bible said. Just like that Bible said. And I'm sure I, in fact, forgot a whole bunch of stuff. But anywho, thanks once again. Until next time, y'all. Bye.